Hey guys, welcome back to another Skyrim mod showcase. Today I got a kind of weird mix of mods that you guys probably will end up enjoying as much as me. As usual though, every mod is marked with the correct titles and a timestamp, so feel free to skip around. But if you end up enjoying the video, make sure to hit that like button down below. And if you're feeling extra generous today, you can also hit that subscribe button because it is free for more mod showcases in the future. And the great part about free is that you can get your money back at any time. But without further ado, let's dive right in. The first mod up today is called the Wardancer Armor set, coming with support at base for 3BA, but there is already patches for B-Hump as well. This mod also features support for cloth physics such as HDT. Of course, as you can tell by also looking at the outfit, this is female only, and it does have options for resolution up to 4K, and because this is a showcase, of course I'm using the 4K version. And this is a light armor that can be crafted at any stage of the game and at any forge, no special requirements. I could definitely see why people like this now. The next mod up is an armor, but it's not really a full-on armor, but it's a full-on replacer. This mod is called Bonemold Armor Replacer. Essentially, this replaces the guard armor in Ravenrock. This will replace all instances of the Bonemold armor with also multiple variants from Armor of Velothy if you couldn't already tell, and because it uses that mod as assets, this also has support for HDT. But I do want to point out that this has a slight glitch. If you have a shields on back mod, which I do, then you'll have that weird cloth thing. It kind of just floats at the back of any guard. But there's also another version of this mod where you can actually get the shields placed back to vanilla, so it will work with any simple mod like simple dual shield. This has kind of become my go-to for these type of guard armors because I use tons of Skyrim now, so this just kind of blends in with that. Because even Zav biotextures couldn't save this armor, but now we have a complete replacer for Bonemold, so it works. Just like we have a complete replacer for the next type of armor, which is heavy Chitin, or Chitin, whichever way you prefer to say it. Honestly, I prefer Chitin. This mod is by the same mod author as the previous one, and it does the same, but this time for heavy Chitin armor. I included the light Chitin in my previous video, and I had no idea that the heavy version was already out, so here we are. And just like those mods, it uses armors from Armors of Velothy to replace them. But this one, however, doesn't have any floating cloth issue, so there's really no reason not to use this, besides FPS reasons. But taking a huge step into the cinematic field, we have a mod retexturing the great city of Solitude. This mod is called Solitude Retexture by Bighead, not to be confused with Biggie Boss, two completely different people. And also when I said great city of Solitude, I didn't mean that mod because that's also a mod. But that's just what I would consider Solitude because in the lore it is absolutely massive. In the Elder Scrolls Online movie, so it makes sense. But this mod even offers up to 8K resolution for textures. This mod also features complete support for complex parallax. As you can see by the walls, which is probably the best looking walls I've seen on any Solitude retexture, this is definitely going to become my go-to once I add it to my list, or once I even start adding textures. The only thing that really needs to be touched though with this mod is the moss, but I'm pretty sure there's a mod to remove the moss from Solitude, and that's probably what Bighead was going for. And that would absolutely make this mod perfect either way, because I don't think we're going to get a moss rework for this texture unfortunately, but it's perfectly fine. Also, I do want to drop one quick disclaimer, this retexture is not compatible with Glorious Doors of Solitude. So if you want this mod doors, do not let it overwrite Glorious Doors, either like Glorious Doors overwrite this, or just don't select the Solitude option when you install that mod. If you want to see what the glitch looks like, just go back to the beginning of this showcase because it is there. But the exteriors weren't the only thing changed, the interior was also changed by this mod, but still in a way that keeps the same feeling of this being a capital of Skyrim. The interiors of this place actually look like marble, and it kind of gives you that feeling, you know, when you're kind of don't belong in that type of area and things are too fancy for you. That's kind of how this feels when you walk into the Blue Palace, and I think that kind of fits Skyrim theme there. Because every other palace is supposed to be Nordic, but this one is supposed to be like the Imperial, and this retexture definitely gives me that feeling. I'm not entirely sure how Bighead applies retextures and parallax to his textures, but this is definitely some of the best I've ever seen. Up next is a mod overhaul in the Dragontooth crater area with a pretty small overhaul. This mod is called the Dangerous Dragontooth Crater. Another FuzzBeed mod. Looks like they finally got inspiration to overhaul the dragon mounds around Skyrim this time, and I guess that makes sense considering they're doing locations barely overhauled or not touched at all by any other mod, and this location definitely fits that description. These overhauls are never overboard, and you can kind of see a similar theme between them, and that's pretty much showing how destroyed and old Skyrim really is by adding Nordic ruins around them. Just like with this next mod for Ancient Ascent. This mod is called Ambient Ancient Ascent. This is the one that if you don't have dragons already unlocked for Skyrim, a bunch of bears will show up instead and kind of maul you to death. But instead the bears are still there, but at least the mound looks better now. And as I mentioned before, FuzzBeed kind of follows a similar theme, just adding Nordic ruins around the place to not really make it a massive overhaul that would destroy your FPS, but it definitely increases your immersion with these locations. And that's why they're a must have for me. This next one though is just a bit of fun. This mod is called JS Badges of Office, with JS being the mod author's name. This mod makes it so stewards of the Jarls will now have metal badges applied to them, just above their clothes, kind of like an overlay to show that they really support their Jarl. Each hold has their own unique badge if they even have a steward, and it will change based on the Civil War. The only part that might make you sad about this mod is that the way that these badges are added and the way that they're worn is that they show up over any clothing overlay, so it's more of like a sticker. So you unfortunately cannot grab these. Even if you kill the Jarl, you still can't get these and wear them. You can add them to your inventory with the add item menu, but they won't appear. So they are only for stewards. These unfortunately also only work for the Jarl steward, so even if you get Lydia or Rhea or however you say her name, sorry if I mispronounced it, they will not have this badge, so only the Jarl get these. And unfortunately, yes, I did test that, so no, they will not get these badges. Up next we have a mod overhauling cabins around Skyrim, but not a complete overhaul. This mod is called Shacks, Doors, and Windows. The name of this mod pretty much fully explains what this mod does, so my job really isn't needed. But for every cabin that is known and not mod added, there will now be windows placed on the shack and also doors that you can interact with to open and shut as you please. Not every window or door will be the same for every cabin around Skyrim. I'm not entirely sure what shack gets what unique door or window, but there is diversity at least. This is definitely one of those mods that will make you question what you actually want when you overhaul Skyrim, because there are mods that add covers to the doorways of shacks but not full on doors like this mod. So this is pretty much a preference of what you want, and this honestly doesn't look bad. It's pretty good in my opinion, but I guess my opinion probably doesn't matter too much here, considering there really isn't that many mods that I would consider bad, but this is definitely one of the good ones if I had to choose. But back to the main point, the best part about this mod though is everything added by it has vanilla texture paths, and no textures are provided with this mod, so just meshes. So this will look as good or as ugly as your textures are, honestly. The next mod though is called Skychild. Now this one might be a bit controversial, because if there's one thing I know about Skyrim modding is that children replacers are probably the most criticized mod type in Skyrim, because no one is ever pleased with anything, especially considering kids kind of set the tone for what your Skyrim looks like. So I'll refrain from putting my personal input, but this mod replaces all named vanilla children, and not only does it replace their face with the similar face to what you would see from TKAA, this is like a remaster of that, but their clothing was also changed to match their personality, and that definitely lets me know that a lot of time and thought was placed into this mod. But just a quick backtrack, TKAA means the kids are alright, which is kind of a beloved children replacer. This is definitely one of those mods I would consider to acquire taste, so you might not like this, but it's still a good mod. But while we're on the topic of replacers, I figured I'd showcase this mod called Taranis Collection 3, hopefully I said the mod author's name correct. But this mod is a massive mod in terms of download size. This features over 100 replacers, and each one has their own plugin, and you pick which ones you want during the installation. So if you grab this mod, either don't select everything when installing because it's going to be a lot of clicking, your fingers might get tired, or learn to use Easy NPC, which merges all of them into one plugin, or you're going to end up with over 100 added to your mod list. This replacer touches a lot of females around Skyrim, but not all of them, so you will want to pair this with another mod, hence why I recommend Easy NPC. There's definitely more than 100 females in Skyrim that this mod replaces, so you'll definitely want to combine this with something else, and choose between 3BA and BHump during your installation. I choose 3BA. Final mod up today, a small player home called Fallside Manor by Watchman. I don't get to showcase many player homes that at least look good, so I got excited when I saw this. This has a small manor just a few miles outside of Riften that is already unlocked and ready for you to use the moment you install this. No key, request, or money is needed for this home, which might break immersion for a few people. I know it does for me, but sometimes we just gotta settle for certain things, especially if we end up liking the mod. I was never really into the mansion size mods. I'm not sure why people prefer castles in Skyrim when Jarls don't even have it. They have kind of a small palace, but mods like these are definitely my favorite because this is the type of home I see my Dragonborn having, so I consider this an A+ mod in terms of player home because it pretty much includes everything you need, honestly. But that's just my biased opinion because I end up loving all cottage sized homes that are in a pretty forest area because it's kind of what I want in real life. But that was it for today's video. Let me know what you thought about these selections of mods and what mod I should showcase next. But as of right now, I hope you have a great rest of your day. Peace and love, guys.